We should not be mourning Charlie Kirk today. He should be alive. He should be well. He should be planning his next visit to a college campus, or maybe doing some more Fox and Friends, or maybe out there in the speaking tour, having great TPUSA events inside great auditoriums. He should be doing that for the next 50, 60 years. I wish we weren't mourning him, because that would mean that he's still among us and still doing what he did so well. I do have a story that I wanted to tell about Charlie. He and I, oddly, had never met in person, although I consider him a friend for the past 7 or 8 years. We talked all the time. He'd been on my show 4 times, and we texted back and forth plenty. I've told the story about how we were kindred spirits in that we were both woodwind players. I'm a saxophone player, and he played bass clarinet. We had a good laugh about that the first time we met. The first time we spoke, I think he was 23 or 24 years old, and wise beyond his years. Well, he promised to come on my show one day. I think this was after the first time he came on, and he came on 3 subsequent times after that. But he was scheduled to be on my show, and something happened, some scheduling conflict. He couldn't make it. They got a hold of me. He said, I just can't make it. And I said, well, we've got the slot ready to go. Love to have you on. We really want to push this movement. I think that what you're doing is amazing. And he said, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And I thought, what does that mean? And he said, don't worry, it's going to be fine. What time is it going to happen again? I said 3:30. We would pre-tape it before my show at 5 Central Time. And the phone rings at 3:30. I'm like, hey, Charlie. And it wasn't Charlie. It was Candace Owens. Candace Owens was touring with him, was working with him with TPUSA, and had really become a major star like she is today, but a major star in the conservative movement. I'd never talked to Candace before. I don't think she knew who I was. And it was her on the phone, and all she said was, Charlie said I had a call. So we're going to do this? And I said, you're darn right we are. We had a great conversation for a good 10 or 15 minutes. She was amazing. But the fact that he said to himself, because I've had people cancel before, and it happens. People have lives, and they've got things going on, and they can't always get it done. But the fact that he thought to himself, I can't cancel on this guy. I can't not do what I said I would do. He was a man of his word to a fault. He was a man of his word to anybody. And by the way, just because I'm conservative is not why he took care of me. He probably talked to more liberals than he ever talked to conservatives. And he was the guy that said, come up and argue, come up and debate, come up and challenge me. Let's mix up these ideas. And that's why an entire new generation knows who Charlie Kirk is and will remain. But think about that. Candace, one of the rising stars at the time. Charlie, certainly a rising star at the time. A joined force to be reckoned with at the time. And he didn't say to himself, let me hand this off to somebody who just started in the organization last week. Let me send him Candace Owens. And I went, whoa. That told me everything that I had to know about Charlie Kirk being truthful and about his integrity. I've said this a million times since we heard the tragic news yesterday. I'm doing this on 9/11. He passed on 9/10. He's going to be known. That name will be known. What he stood for will be known for hundreds of years, and we do it right. If we make sure that we keep on standing up for speech, we keep on standing up for debate, we keep on standing up for mixing up ideas and not getting the people on the far fringes, you're not going to change them, okay? But what Charlie did was he knew there were people in the middle leaning a little this way, a little bit that way. And he knew that what he was doing was effective in making them go, wait a second. There is something different here. There is different information available here. That was his absolute power. His superpower was bringing people together, and those who were in the middle going, I've only heard one side, I'm not convinced, letting them hear the other side. And by the way, there is a chance that once you hear the conservative side, you're going to say, I was right to be on the liberal side. But there's also a chance that once you finally get to hear that there is another side to the story, you'll go, wow, at least I get to make an educated decision now. He opened their minds. Listen, Charlie was a lot younger than I am. He was a lot younger. He was 28 years younger than me. I've got children that are older than him. So they weren't necessarily going to listen to me. And God bless him, he's the best in the business. They weren't necessarily going to listen to Sean. Or they wouldn't necessarily listen to Clay and Buck, although they're younger, but might not listen to Mark. But they were listening to Charlie Kirk, because here's a guy barely out of his 20s who didn't go to college and still was smarter than most who had. Here's a guy in Charlie Kirk that was unafraid to take on all comers. You know, my podcast is called Unshaken and Unafraid with Joe Pags because we were swatted and decided we should probably do a podcast and show that you're not going to shut us up. I've heard the word unafraid used a lot in relation to Charlie Kirk in the past day or so, and I could not agree more. I just wanted to share that anecdote, a true story of Charlie Kirk. I most recently texted with him probably a few weeks ago about doing something together. We're both in the Salem Podcast Network, outside the radio show, and he was the superstar of that network. Very, very nice man. He said, I'd love to do it. He hooked us up at the TP USA event in Dallas, and the guy was just a good guy. You know, again, I didn't know him as well as some. I felt as though we were friends for 7 or 8 years, and we certainly did communicate. But when you hear the stories about Charlie, I thought that I would relay that one because it goes a long way to saying, once again, look at who this guy was. Look at what this guy accomplished. And look at how he made people feel just by being a good soul. Going to be sadly missed, Charlie. Don't ever let his memory, don't ever let his words die.